Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Shelbyville Mayor and City Council study session. It is Tuesday, September the 30th, and about 6 p.m. Gosh, it feels funny that September is already gone. Do we have any on our agenda tonight? We have any public comments, Lisa?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. Our staff reports will be our next item, and that's city manager update. And Scott Collins sitting right here to my left.
Just got a couple of things, Mayor. The flood pumps should be delivered hopefully this week, if not probably early next week, but they are, it'll be here Thursday. I just got to work. So we're very excited about that. The work is still going on to get the bids prepared for the housing and all the bells and whistles that go with it, because our firemen and others have been having to go out on the metal platform during horrendous weather conditions. But this new system will allow a lot of it to be controlled in other ways and have it on housing. So it'll be much safer and much more efficient. Another item to report on is the Riverview District. We've had a good concrete pour. Public Works and others met this morning with another concrete guy that the one part of the concrete is going to actually look almost like a river walk, a river rock. That will go with the theme of the area. So we're very excited about that. I think you ought to be very pleased with it. Mayor, that's all I have for us.
Okay, all right. It's good news on the flood and the Review District. We'll get that grindstone open pretty quick. We have a date on that yet?
The third Saturday in October.
I can't imagine. Never heard of that. Never thought about that weekend before.
Okay, thank you, Scott, for that report. Discussion items we have tonight is the November study session date, and I'm going to let Lisa take care of that. She had sent us in our packet some information. We've got a conference coming up. Lisa?
Yes, sir. That is just the November study session date is set on, I'm sorry, I didn't have the calendar pulled up. Give me just a second. It's set on the Tuesday, obviously, of November. And I don't.
So forward.
Thank you.
Tuesday the 4th.
Calendar was not right. It's set on November the 4th, and we're requesting to move it to November the 6th, which is the Thursday, as we have done in the past. The reason is the governor's conference in Murfreesboro is on the 4th, and there are some things that will go over into the evening that would prevent the mayor and any council members that were there from getting back to the study session. So if everybody's agreeable, there'll be a business item next week to just move that to the 7th.
The sixth.
Sorry, to the 6th.
That's just the sixth.
Okay. Thank you,
From
Lisa.
Tuesday to Thursday, that's it.
All right, the next item, Boys and Girls Club sponsorship for 2025, and we had that also on our agenda packet. Any discussion on that? They're looking at, I think they've got all kinds of different sponsorships that we can do there. And Eric Ainge, is that right?
Yes.
Is going to be the speaker for that.
He played somewhere, I'm not sure where.
I'm sorry?
He played some football somewhere, I think.
Yeah, we know so. We saw a player today, didn't we, Scott?
Yes, we did.
And,
I did have one thing.
yes, ma'am.
I looked up today, we gave 2,000 last year from the general fund.
Okay.
Just in case y'all want to know what we did last year, which was kind of an odd thing because it was between the 3,000 and the 1,500, you know, a different sponsorship. But it's whatever y'all want to do. I was just giving you information from last year.
Okay, all right. So the bronze sponsorship, the 1,500, is one table for 8 tickets. Is that correct? And I'm looking at it here on our agenda packet. That sound right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And these funds came out of what
The
last year?
General fund, under, other general government, special events. And I think this is on a night that's the governor's conference too.
It is, it's on the.
Oh, is that the date of it? November the 3rd. Yep.
It's Monday night at, the program begins at 6, the doors open at 5:30, it'll be at the Blue Ribbon Circle Club.
Now, is this the steak and chicken dinner?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Okay.
Steak and chicken, I think is right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that'll be at the Blue Ribbon Circle. Isn't that right?
That is correct, yes, sir.
All right. Any thoughts, any comments on that?
No, this doesn't fall under the guidelines of the sponsorships of nonprofits that we, of course, discontinued some time ago. This is just kind of a donation type thing.
If it's a sponsorship.
Yeah, if it was a donation, it would fall under that, probably that category. But it's a sponsorship of this table. I'm thinking now,
Just for that.
who will be available to go. There may be some that don't go to the event over in Murfreesboro, or I don't know how long that will last on Monday. Do you, Scott? How long that event over the governor's conference will be over there Monday? Because I'm not staying over in Murfreesboro. I'll be coming home every evening.
They got a partial schedule. Yes, Monday, the 3rd is check-in day.
Okay.
It gets started in earnest at 9 a.m.
Okay.
to
Okay. All right, so we might be available for that.
But you have to go, okay, so check-in day is Monday? You have to go Monday?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
You can probably register that next
I
week.
have badge pickup starting at 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning.
Tuesday. Okay. Comments, questions on what do we want to go with, folks?
So last year it was the 2,000.
That's what y'all gave last year, 2,000.
Does that include a table or something?
It did. I think y'all got 80 tickets. For some reason, we kind of gave between the two amounts, but of course, I imagine you can give whatever you want. It wouldn't have to be those numbers, but, we gave 2,000 from the general fund last year.
What is 1,500? Is that?
It gets to 8 tickets and one table.
Prices changed from last year to this year, that may be why we.
It was odd last year too. We're not sure why
The
that happened.
request last year was just 40.
That's right, yeah. I don't know if they had the
It
like
didn't fit
bronze,
neatly.
gold and all that last year.
I think that we probably maybe should take a kind of a hit now as to who can commit to going. If we're not gonna have 8 people at the table,
Yeah.
you know, maybe the donation.
Yeah, don't want it to be empty. Don't want it to be
No.
empty. Thoughts? What we need to go with? 1,500 for a bronze sponsor and get that one table? What do y'all think?
Well, the only difference, it seems
Okay.
like, are the
I'm getting a
four
nod.
tickets.
Yeah.
The only difference is the 4 tickets to that private event, so you. But depending on who's gonna be between the 1,500 and 3,000.
All right. Any other thoughts? I bet you were saying 4 tickets, maybe for $200 each.
No, I'm saying right here is both the 3,000 and the 1,500 are both the table for
Yeah.
8 tickets. But
Yeah.
the difference of the $1,500
Here,
between there is
private
the 4
reception.
tickets to the
Yeah.
private
Yeah,
reception.
private reception. I see that now, yes. Anyone else? Okay. I think you say on that one table, $1,500, that would be my opinion, personal opinion.
Yeah, works for me.
That good with you? Good with everybody? Okay, all right, so big on sponsorship. Okay, the next item is the annexation request, Highway 231 North. And it was in our packet, but if you need to ask Tom a question, I'm sure he'll fill us in, right, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Would you like me to give
Is this the Landers and the Wilhelm property or something like that? Is that right?
Well, this is, usually when you look for trouble, you tend to find it. In this case, the Wilhelm property, which the Landers was going to be a part of, turns out it's actually not in the city. So they've asked to bring it into the city with the Landers property as well. So, just so that we follow the proper steps, this is just a reference or sending it back down to the planning commission for further study.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so it's the entire parcel this time now. Those two and that little sliver.
I saw in the packet, it said we did not have to provide sewer and water at this time, even though they want to be annexed in.
Yes, sir. So we can annex parcels into the city without specific services. And in this case, there is no water and sewer available. Well, there's water from BCUD.
Okay.
And then the sewer service, there's none out there. They have private septic systems. And we'll just have to write the plan of services to say those two specific items are not being provided by the city.
And garbage pickup and,
Yes, they'll have garbage pickup. Yes.
okay.
They've been taxed by the city since 2012, I think. Yes. And it was actually on Rhonda's list to contact me when I was asking her about the same problem.
Okay. Questions for Tom, folks? About 10.5 acres almost, 10?
Between that small triangular portion, I think it'd be close to 10.8 some acres.
Okay.
Is there a reason for the annexation? What are they planning? What are the plans?
I don't know, they haven't disclosed why they want to, they've always acted as if they were in this, because their property was, they bought it as being in the city and they want to be in the city, but I don't know, what benefits from it, so. Because they can, I checked with Chris White and whatever they're using it for now, which is the, large animal veterinary service as well as horse barn. It can be part of whether in the city or in the county.
Are we giving them any of the taxes back for all these years they've paid?
I talked to Rhonda about that too, and by state law, I think you can only get 2 years back.
Are they requesting that though, or do we know?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions for Tom? All right, thank you, Tom. All right, old business, ordinances. Second and final reading, public hearing, none. A is an ordinance of the Shelbyville City Council to amend the Shelbyville zoning map by approving the rezoning of approximately 0.93 plus or minus acres owned by Shannon Lee Harris, addressed at 120 Dover Street and referenced in Bedford County, Tennessee, tax records as tax map 79L, Group C, Parcel 24, and attached as Exhibit A and Exhibit B survey from commercial to C2 general business to residential 3 R3 medium density residential, and repealing any ordinance or portion of ordinance in conflict therewith. Questions?
They're just,
Tom will be our guy on that too.
they're just wanting to build a single family on this, thing, right?
Yes.
Even though it's R3.
Yes, ma'am. They just want a single family home there.
Anyone else? All right, B, an ordinance of the city of Shelbyville, Tennessee, mayor and city council to amend the city code of ordinances, Title 7, Chapter 4, fireworks, to repeal any and all ordinance in conflict therewith and providing an effective date. Comments? Questions?
Yeah, I reached out actually I sent a note to 300 neighbors and asked for feedback and got a couple dozen responses. It was about 3 to 1 positive, but the negative ones were very emphatic. So it is my intent next week to make a motion to tighten this up just a little bit back from the 7 days on my original proposal back to 5 days. So July 2nd through the 6th, which would put 2 days on either end of the holiday instead of 3. It would still fix the problem we had this year without going to a full week. So
Comments from anyone?
second through the 6th, yeah. Yeah, the ones that were upset were the ones that had pets and they had, which I've got pets, I understand that. So the 2nd through the 6th still takes care of having a couple days after. If there's a rain event or something on the 4th, you still get a chance to shoot fireworks off.
Okay.
So what is the cutoff time? Did we decide on a secret cutoff time?
10:30,
10:30?
except for the 4th, it's 11:30 on the 4th, which is what it's always been. Yeah, that's the current as well.
Is it 11:30 or 11?
I think it's 11.
That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, you're right, it is 10 to 11:30, and 10 to 10:30 during the other permissible hours.
Any other questions? Okay, all right. And you'll make that change next week, right? Or will y'all make that change before we get?
I can just do it as a motion.
Okay, you'll make that motion, okay. All right. Okay, new business. Ordinance its first reading. A, an ordinance of the Shelbyville City Council to amend the Shelbyville zoning map by approving the rezoning of the residential zoning classification on a portion of approximately 1.08 acres plus or minus owned by Jorge Neto Angeles and Jesus Nito, addressed as, excuse me if I didn't pronounce this correctly, addressed as 804 East Depot Street, referenced in Bedford County, Tennessee tax records as tax map 89G, Group K, parcel 9.01, and attached as Exhibit A and Exhibit B, Spears subdivision recorded plat from residential 3, R3 medium density residential to commercial 2, C2 general business, and repealing any ordinance or portion of ordinance in conflict therewith. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. Comments or questions?
Explain what this is. What's going on?
Sure. And I think I need to double check the tax map and parcel number that's on here because I have it as 79L Group C 24.00. So this property, since before, on or before 2009, there was a residential portion that's split zone. So there's two zoning classifications on the same parcel. And you see that section there is zones R3, and then the front portion is commercial 2. The owner wants to clean up that zoning as well as develop the whole property as a commercial property. And it met all of our standards in the future land use map and comp plan. So the Planning Commission provided a favorable recommendation.
Commercial doing what?
He hasn't really, he's batted around several ideas, including auto repair, but I don't know yet. He was having, it was challenging for him to go, I guess, visualize all the steps in there. So we're breaking it up into different steps. And so the first step will be the rezoning part. And then he'll go through the site plan aspect of it. The one thing that he did start on, because he has residential, this is a commercial use, but he does have residential bordering on it, is that he's put up screening fences, which is a requirement under the site plan. Whenever you have a commercial and a residential area, you need to put up some type of screening or buffer. So he's already done that part of it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Tom? Okay, thank you, Tom. May get you back up here in a minute.
Yes, sir.
All right, B, an ordinance of the Shelbyville City Council to amend the Shelbyville zoning map by approving the rezoning of approximately .92 acres, plus or minus, parcel owned by John K. Asherbrenner, addressed as 103 Moreland Avenue, referenced to Bedford County, Tennessee tax records as tax map 690, Group D, parcel 4, and attached as Exhibit A from residential 2, R2 medium low density residential to R4, or residential 4, R4 high density residential, and repealing any ordinance or portion of ordinance in conflict therewith. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the planning commission. Questions or comments?
Why did it receive an unfavorable?
So this property is in, you can see all around it is a historic residential neighborhood. It did not, the planning commission decided that it did not meet the standards for the North Main Street corridor district. There's a number of policy guidelines within that character area that it didn't meet. So, I think by majority, I think there was only one, I can't remember what the voter roll was, but I think it was, majority of it, the planning commissioner voted against it.
It's right behind Firehouse Subs and those
Yes.
road,
Yes.
that little strip mall right there.
Yes, and one of the biggest issues, for me, one of the biggest issues was that there's really no connection, from this back area to the commercial areas here, pedestrian connections. I mean, there's no sidewalks that line either side of it. And a lot of it has to do with just the width of this, and we don't have any type of crosswalks across to the commercial area over there. And that's one of the policy guides of the North Main Corridor District.
Yes, please.
That was a huge concern for the planning commission. Pedestrian safety in this area, if you go down the right side, Separate Road, they were very concerned about that.
Just curious how many units?
It's, what was it, 0.92 acres. I calculated with the new 30% requirement, it might be 8 or, at the most, probably about 8. I think that in a concept they had 9, but I don't think that it's achievable to do 8, or achievable to be able to do 9. So, and that's the gross, well, I guess the gross is maybe 13 units, but with the open space requirements, it brings it down to 8 or 9.
Okay, any other questions for Tom on that? Comments? Okay, thank you, Tom. Trying to keep up with you, all this. It's 45 pages for one piece of paper. C, an ordinance of the city of Shelbyville, Tennessee, providing, and we appreciate you doing that in detail like that, Tom. And Brandy. Ordinance of the city of Shelbyville, Tennessee, providing that the code of ordinances of the city of Shelbyville be amended by adding a new chapter to Title V businesses, professions, and occupations. Therein providing for the regulations of mobile food vendors.
Well, I didn't write this one this time. This was done by Building and Codes, but we had already in the planning department have been working on actually amending it as well. And a lot of it has to do with we just don't have regulations for mobile food services. So that was the intent behind it. This was the ordinance that you have is the first draft of it. So there are going to be some minor changes within it, and then if the council had any questions on it.
And it was pretty detailed about getting permission if it's on city property for parking there, and for private property getting permission, but this is a licensing.
It is a
Correct.
Licensing, yes, sir.
Okay. And then it'll be taxable.
Yes, I think that's one of the previous. I don't know who brought it up before, but that was one of the discussions about the sales tax, because they tend to be cash basis. We're not collecting the sales tax on it. The one thing that will need to happen happen, probably preceding this, is some type of fee resolution for, the actual mobile food service license and how to actually enforce that part of it.
And when they apply for the license, they'll let you know where they're gonna park this? Is that the way it works?
They would have to provide all the documentation, including health department reviews. Right now, the way that it's being enforced is, it's a little bit, clunky, if that's a technical term. It's just a little bit, because we don't have the standards in place, it tends to be inconsistent throughout the board. So, we've worked with Shelbyville Power for doing any type of connection with, the water and sewer, that component of it. But there's still some that, because they have a business license, they tend to come in and they can set up shop anywhere. But we like to put in those regulations in place so that there's at least a review by the pre-planning committee.
Okay.
At the very basic.
Yeah, I was thinking about, when I was reading that over, it was about safety and where they located, get traffic in and traffic out and those kind of things.
Yes, and we've had a lot of people inquire about setting up a food truck to cook in and then serve inside a building, which creates other issues.
All right.
So there won't be any restrictions as to how many we can have in the city. And what if, I've seen some move from one location to another. So how do we handle that?
That's the part that needs, I think, a little bit more clarification within the ordinance, is how those items are addressed, because I know that we had one down in Fayetteville, and it was licensed through administration, and each of them had to post the license, and there were certain areas that, like within this code, it restricts to, you can't put it in a public area, they have to be on private property, they have to get permission from the private property owner. So there's gonna be some clarifications within it on, how best to enforce it. It'll be building department, not me.
Is this ready to be voted on next week, or is this just discussion at this point, or where are we actually at?
Personally, I think that maybe it should be discussed on, because this is the first draft of it. And I think there's some areas, unless it can be cleaned up in a week, but there might be questions.
We would know what we're voting.
Exactly, you would need to review it more in detail and what the impacts are, so.
So,
But I didn't-
gotta have those discussions about what needs to be cleaned up. I mean, are we planning a special meeting? Are we supposed to figure it out today, or what are we doing?
If you want me to say, I would say that it should be discussion only. And now whether there's a,
We don't discuss this first.
no,
Right now would be the time, given the study session, to really
To discuss.
hear your all concerns, what you want to see out of this ordinance, and staff. We can go back and fine tune it, but I think I've heard a couple of comments.
maybe it's not ready.
Yeah.
Because personally, I would like to see planning commission at least have.
Why don't we just move this down a month, maybe, and get everything detailed in the next study?
Yeah, and we can actually put together a spreadsheet that shows the side by side too.
Those department here too.
If they wrote it, yes.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes, that way we can have a discussion during the November study session, and we will have Director Stevens here.
And all this, okay. Sound good to everybody? Okay. All right.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
But if y'all got a rough draft right now, if you see anything that you'd like to see in it, let us go ahead and make notes of it, so that can enhance the discussion in November.
Yeah, it's pretty detailed. I read through it. It was pretty detailed.
Do we plagiarize this from somebody else probably, or exams or somebody?
It's a little,
Okay.
Yeah, this predominantly came, well, actually, we looked at 3 or 4 jurisdictions, and one of them had the cleanest one and with a lot of the similar type of devices. And that's what was brought into this one.
And the state inspection as far as food and all that, do they have to show that before they get the license from us to operate? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. They have to have proof of insurance as well as the health department license.
Any other? All right, let's move on. Resolutions. A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Shelbyville, Tennessee, authorizing an official delegation to attend the 2025 Governors Conference. It's of course in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, on November the 3rd through the 5th, 2025, and providing for the attendance and expenditures of that delegation. Comments or questions on that? Okay. All right. Business items, we don't have any. Purchasing and bid items. Option to renew, and I read over that this afternoon. Hi, Ms. Sadler.
Hello.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
All right, Laura, if you would kind of give us an idea about that.
Okay, Buck is in the room for the hard questions. But the package that I gave you, the very last page, which has the long list of what we approved last year. There were, one or two lines in that, the 310, 320 range, where we had added concrete items that were additions from what our paving bid used to be. Well, with all the activity on the square and our first year of using this contract as it is, we found it needful to add 4 lines that would definitely help with the sidewalk situations, specifically around downtown, but this would be anywhere in the city. So what we requested in our renewal, option to renew to volunteer paving, was to add the 4 lines as listed in the letter. It's the second page of the staff summary. It's adding a 6-inch sidewalk, that's the thickness, a 4-inch stamped sidewalk, a 6-inch stamped sidewalk, and color additive for concrete installed. And what they came back with, which was page 4, and if you compare those to like line 310, the 4-inch sidewalk installed, they're in alignment. And our public works director feels like they're in alignment, and he recommends that we opt to renew with volunteer paving with those changes. Now, as far as all the other items from the previous year, they're not changing any prices or services. Everything on that last page will carry forward
Okay.
another year.
All right. Questions or comments for Ms. Sadler or for Buck? Buck, is this to take care of this up there at Riverview District? Is that the purpose of this?
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's to take care of anywhere within the city. What we found, whenever, this was the first time that we came out with this bid when we first did it, we refined everything. But as you go along, you see things that you missed and everything else. So like if a driveway approach is normally 6-inch, okay? Well, we didn't have a line item in there for 6-inch. We had it for 4-inch. It's not fair for them to have to get paid for a 4-inch by the square foot when they're actually doing 6-inch. So we're just refining it to our needs, to where hopefully we make this document better and better. And every time that we go out to bid, that we'll have something that will be useful everywhere. Cover all of our bases so we don't get caught, not having something in there.
I think that's wise. But the volunteers going to do the work up there. Are they going to do that work in front of Grindstone and that street, South Spring Street?
They're doing, they're sub right now. With what I had to do, I could only have them do what we had within the contract, and then the additive for the stamp and everything else will be billed separate, which falls well below what our thresholds are for bid, so.
And this will come out of your $1.1 million paving, or come out of the $250,000 that we approved coming out of,
Well, there's 1.1 million for paving, there's 80,000 for sidewalk, I believe. I know it was last year, I think it is this year.
Okay.
And there's other line items that I have within my budget that cover some of the concrete. And there is the 250,000 for the Riverview District. So between those items
Yeah.
that we have, where it best fits is where we're gonna put it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other people have questions?
Now, the design of this, especially around the grindstone, does that have any bearing? Now, this question may be twisted, kind of different, may not make any sense whatsoever. But does it have any bearing on whether or not that street is actually closed if the council decides to do that, or?
First of all,
how does
the
that work?
street will not be closed. It'll be a change of use to that street.
Right.
It will be a pedestrian walkway, but it will still be all of our right of way and everything else. So it's a change of use. I don't want to get into street closure or anything else like that.
Right.
It's a change of use, so it's a non-motorized transportation area, which is covered under TDOT and everything else. So we're not closing it per se. We're changing the use from automobiles to pedestrian.
That's a council decision. That's correct. Okay.
Yeah. But it's not a street closure.
But, yeah,
Through traffic.
right.
Yeah.
But the street that you're laying down will be fine for cars to drive on it if the council decides not to.
Yeah, the preference would be,
That's where I was going.
That's what I was saying.
the preference would be, and I guess I haven't got any indication that this wasn't gonna happen. Are we thinking that this might not happen now, or should I stop what I'm doing over there, or what? Because we're doing a lot of work and we're going in a direction right now. It's gonna get to the point that it's gonna be a one-way if anything. So
Let's not put the cart before the horse, and the council has to make that decision.
is that something that you guys can make this week then?
True. It's true. Do we have those little things that come up that stop traffic?
Yeah, if you guys wanna pay the price for the hydraulic ones, I'll gladly put those in.
But to keep cars from going onto it, what I'm.
We do have bollards. The bollards should be here within 3 weeks. You know, the 250,000 that
Yeah.
you guys approved is
Right.
for this area
That's right.
and everything. So if you're gonna make a decision to change the use of the street, it has to happen pretty quick.
Right.
Because I don't wanna put the cart before the horse, but I don't wanna wait 6 months and it
Sure.
just be all gravel there and not have anything done.
Exactly right.
Mayor, if I may,
You
that's,
may.
that's on your October planning commission meeting to discuss and make a recommendation to the council about the street use.
On the which one?
The street use, whether or not you go to a pedestrian use only, that's on the planning commission's October agenda to make for a recommendation and send it back to you all.
I'm not, if I could, because following on what Councilmember Ewing, and I've been there and visited about them, I don't think we have time to wait till the October. I think, I'm not opposed to voting next week on the change of use if that's not some kind of a legal faux pas.
You need to have the planning commission review it. That was the reason kind of we talked about it. But as you pointed out to me, it was just listed as a discussion item.
Right.
You pointed out it was supposed to be voted on in October, planning commission.
Well, can we have a discussion tonight though, because for several years, it's been my understanding this was what was happening. And then, while I've been here, it has a lot of momentum to make it a pedestrian area, to tie into the river walk and the fly center. So has something changed?
No, but it's that entertainment district thing, that's what comes into play.
That's apples and oranges. Let's put the alcohol over here. Let's don't even think about the alcohol. Let's focus on the pedestrian only.
That's where I'm at.
Right, right.
I don't care if there's alcohol in there, but if I need to make that passable by that's a whole different decision. It's the use of the road. If you guys remember, I'm sure a lot of you have drove that road back when it was, you had to have mirrors up and everything to be able to make a turn. It was not a safe area. Should have always been a pedestrian area. I think the whole reason why it was a street is that looking back through the pictures, there was buildings along the side there, so it was a way for them to be able to get to those buildings. It became a street, but it did not become a safe street. Okay, when you have to have mirrors up to see if there's other cars coming or see if there's pedestrians out there, that's not a safe street. So what we're trying to do is make it safe and passable and a way to get to the overlook, to get to the Riverwalk area and everything else. You don't need cars intermingling with a bunch of pedestrians that are over there. So that's where, and maybe I misunderstood. I thought that was a plan all along. I'm not quite sure what the 250,000 would have been to approve, that you guys approved not to do that. So I'm a little bit in limbo on that.
Where is this the whole street all the way back to, the parking lot where the fly is, or are we just going halfway?
Eventually, it'll go all the way back through. We have constraints because of the Riverwalk and the overlook.
Right.
That has to get constructed before we can do a lot of that. So my goal is to get to at least the end of the third building that the city used to own, get to there, and then hold until the rest of the stuff gets done so I can continue going down through. I think all of you have seen the pictures with the city seal and everything else, and the music. We're after a grant or got a grant for music events that could happen down there to tie in with everything. So if we're doing something different, please let me know sooner rather than later.
If I may, Mayor, we talked about this last month, and if you all recall, I said on an entertainment district, we need to take the whole issue of closing the street to the planning commission, and that we would be changing, the use of it, and that's going to require an ordinance. So the ordinance needs to be drafted. It's going to be in front of the planning commission in October for one type of a recommendation. I think what your public works director said has been true. You all have talked about it in generalities for a long time, but there's not been a formal vote on doing all the necessary legalities that you've got to go through. That has not happened yet. So I think what Councilwoman Ewing has pointed out is that you haven't gone through the legalities to get that done yet. And are we, like I said, putting the cart before the horse and putting that in without having all that done? When we talked last month about that, I don't think anybody brought up maybe that this was something that was a rush.
I did from here.
The reality on the ground, because I've been there, and I think Buck would probably testify to this, we're a week of construction away from that no longer being passable we're probably past the point of it being passable for two-way traffic. We're down to one-way where it sits today, and once that island gets put in, it's no longer passable for traffic. Physically, we would have to tear out all the work we put in.
Is there a reason on the planning commission that you didn't look at this past month, September?
It was listed as a discussion item and they discuss it, but it was my understanding it was supposed to be just an introduction to them as we introduced the issue of the entertainment, the alcohol district to the beer board. So.
Okay, I think the main thing we need to do right now, with council's permission, let's leave alcohol aside. Let's quit saying entertainment district and alcohol zone. Let's take that off the table. And let's think about the safety of our pedestrians, because you've got two great businesses. One getting ready to open in 3 weeks, another one already highly successful in opening, and one to use as patio. And right now, it's as Councilman Levin said, it's a marsh pit back there.
Right.
What it is. I think a lot of people are still talking, because after the meetings, I've been talking to a lot of business here, just try to get there. So that's what it is, about closing the street, the entertainment through the street, all of that. And I think a lot of people are confused as to what it is. Why do you want to close it? Are you just closing it because the two restaurants want it closed to use that out there? No, that is not the purpose of closing that to pedestrians. It's for safety. It's for gathering places because we got the Riverwalk going. There's a lot of things. A lot of people just think we're closing it because of, or wanting to close it or not close it. Sorry, but
Thank you.
change of use. Want to change the use of the street to satisfy those restaurants, and that's not the reason. I think people need to understand that. Whether we do the alcoholic beverages in the street or not, that has nothing to do with the fact that we want to change it to a pedestrian-only right away.
Well, I think an individual would argue the fact that that street has been dangerous for all of these many, many years. So
Absolutely.
it's coincidental that maybe we're not changing it due to those businesses there, but it's been dangerous all these years. So, I mean,
Yeah.
One could argue that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the entertainment district, I understand. So that comes later. Oh.
I disagree. I think it has everything to do with the entertainment district.
Yeah.
And the vision and the drawings that have been on the table for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Everybody went before last hollow, bought their building and built it. They had nice drawings, we've been following that plan. There's been zero conversation that the city council needed to formally close or change the use of that street ever that I've heard. Until now, we're getting ready to open the darn thing because we've spent $1 million trying to get it ready. And all of a sudden, somebody wants to say we got the cart before the horse or whatever, but yeah, it needs to go right on down the road for our river walk, overlook. All of that's gonna blend together. And if there's a few people out there that don't understand that, I'm sorry that it hasn't been publicized to the point, but it is coming. Some people have to see it on the ground and walk on it and eat at it before they can realize the vision that it's gonna bring to the community. Well, those quality of life, quality of place things that we've been trying to get for Shelbyville for a decade.
And the street's been inaccessible for 2 years now.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I used to drive it every day and I hadn't missed it. Because I went around there every day,
right.
coming around that corner, and it's like, I thought it might miss it, but I hadn't missed it.
Yeah, I've approached this, that it's more for tourism that we're looking at, not to establish. This is for the tourism for the whole community
Right.
because of the Riverwalk and the outlook that we're gonna have. So there's others, just an addition that adds to the tourism. That is my opinion of the two businesses that have to put their money in here, which is great. But they're just an addition to what we needed for tourism anyway to help our city grow and bring more people in. And that overlook is gonna, to me, was the big, and we gotta fill all this other in, enable for the people to use the outlook. So I think my opinion is let's just go proceed.
And all the way back through those decisions, from the 20,000 foot area, is the river is an unexploited asset of the city of Shelbyville.
Absolutely.
That can bring tourism dollars here, i.e. keep our taxes from going up on us and let the tourists pay extra taxes so that we don't have to get taxed for it. That's the big picture. And and I said 10 years ago when we started pushing this thing, it's a 25-year project. Well, we're just now getting to the point where we can actually see some benefits of it. It's getting there. But anyway, to me, it has everything to do with the downtown business district or development zone, whatever you want to call it.
If I may, Mayor, it does, but it's not necessarily tied to alcohol, if I may. We've talked about a pedestrian walkway, and other councils way back have talked about a pedestrian walkway, even in other areas, for some time on economic development that was not tied to the discussion of having whether you can allow open container. So, but in terms of you talk about an entertainment district, if you're going to have open container, you need to have a pedestrian walkway. So, and I anticipate y'all are probably going to pass that, but just making sure you do dot your i's and cross your t's. Just take us a couple of months.
Yeah, I think where we are tonight is the use of that street.
I agree.
We just need to change the use of that street. I mean, we've been making plans all along that we're gonna do this, and we've got our public works director right in the middle of it. And we've already planned about people maybe eating out there and doing those kind of things like that. Take this other off the table right now. We're not looking at that right now. But I think Buck's at the point, he's got to make this move. Now, the $250,000 is gonna get us past the third building. So we're gonna have to have more money past that. Is that what you're saying?
The 250, I'm hoping gets us down there, but there's some things that we can't do, okay? Those other buildings need work on them, okay? They've spent all their time and effort working on the first one. You don't wanna put pretty concrete in there, and then all of a sudden have a bunch of trucks parked on it working on those buildings. So in coordination with what the construction is and everything, I'm hoping, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it. It isn't just, hey, Buck, go make it to where it's walkable. No, you know, we gotta have street lighting, we gotta do these other things that go with it. And the prices of some of this stuff is, you know, I would like to say, hey, no problem, I get to that third building. But I'm gonna get as far as what I can get with the 250 using the best prices that I can get anywhere. So the goal is to get to the third building and stop, because that's where I'll have to stop anyway.
Right.
But I'm not saying that if I'm 30 feet short, I might not come back and say, I need a little bit to get to there. So, sort of like my 2 weeks comments I make, Scott, it might be enough, Mayor. It might be enough. I'm doing everything to make sure that it can be.
We just wanted to know for sure. That's what Scott had asked for the council to approve.
Yes, and go ahead.
And plus, out of the 250, we also had the ballers budgeted in there. We had the decorative street lamps.
Yep.
But keep in mind, we will know October 15th whether or not we got the downtown improvement grant. So there's other factors in play here that we're working diligently on, trying to squeeze the flow off a nickel and make every dollar count.
But I think the discussion tonight is we need to make that decision on the street being pedestrian. What would be the language in that? Pedestrian only, or?
I need you guys all to shake your head that you're not gonna fire me
How do
for
we
making
do
it pedestrian, because that's where,
Change of use.
change of use.
Change of use.
It's still a public right of way.
Uh-huh.
That does not change. What changes on if a vehicle can go on it or if it's just for pedestrians? It still will act as a public right of way through there. So essentially, with a public right of way, anybody can go in there and do, if they want to set a little picnic table up, they could. It's a public right of way. And if that's the type of use that we're gonna allow in there, anybody can do that. So it belongs to the citizens at the end.
I think on the closing, pedestrian, you just listed as pedestrian. If you're gonna talk about restaurants and places using it, that comes a part of your entertainment district in
Yes.
the open container, so this is
I don't wanna
just
intermingle.
closed. You don't intermingle those. So that's not talking about people actually putting things out in the right of way. That's not what that would do.
No,
Pedestrian walk.
it would be a pedestrian walkway that would belong to the citizens of Shelbyville. And this is our shining star. I mean, this thing here, when we get done, the vision, I mean, I know there was a few of you that were on the council. This was the vision. And, you know, it's coming to that point to where it's going to be tangible. You know, you're going to be able to touch it. You're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to walk on it. And, you know, we have certain months that we can do concrete and certain months that we can't do concrete. And we're getting real close to the months that we can't do concrete. So that's where we want to get to. We're kind of, to me, I don't care about the businesses. I'm worried about that because that's my focus. That's what I'm paid to do. So.
Yeah, we need to go ahead and just make that decision about doing that tonight, so we can go ahead and get that done, because Grindstone could be opening up, you don't have people in that street anyway.
Yeah,
And it's been closed for a long time because of them working on those buildings, so.
as a city, we have a duty to make sure that it's safe for them to get in their door.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
If I may, Mayor, I mean, if you all could indicate by head nod tonight, if you are in favor, and will eventually vote on an ordinance that changes the pedestrian use of the walkway. I mean, you'd give that so that they know, but now, I know Lisa had done a lot of research with MTS on the, change of use, so we will have to get those ordinances and find out where that goes, because we don't have a place in our municipal code where that goes. We'll have to create that.
Questions from anybody else? Comments?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Everybody else good? Everybody good with it?
yes.
Okay.
The noise has always been there.
Getting real worried. Y'all
You gotta-
very.
you gotta see my big machines out there. You said no.
All right, thank you, Bud, we appreciate it. Statewide contract purchase for police SUV.
That would be 3.
That's what I read, 3, okay.
That's Lisa, mistake, I'm so sorry. Sorry, Dan, I tried.
He'll take for it.
All right, Lori, if you fill us in on that, please, you need to. or
Yes, sir.
If you have questions.
They budgeted for 3 vehicles. The budget was 197,004. These 3 vehicles are 175,404. That still leaves room for a couple items that they don't get upfitted at the dealership. Again, it's Tennessee statewide contract. They're 2025 models, $40 higher than last year's per vehicle.
That's cheap.
Yes.
Any comments, questions on that?
Floors.
Fourth floors. Okay. No problem on delivery this year?
They tell them to stop, ready to go.
Good, good,
Oh, that's good.
good. We have been waiting on them before, haven't we?
Well, we didn't this last group was once you're in COVID, you gotta have to go, we waited over a year. Yeah.
That's great that they've got. All right, thank you, Ms. Sadler, we appreciate it. Appointments, park board, 3 seats, 2-year term, mayor appointment. Now, we had, 3 people, I think, were up for appointment, and, Ken, I think you know one of them personally, Mary Grace Phillips and Steve Taylor, and then Mr. Horner, who has become a Public Works Department employee, I think. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he's coming off of there, and I have asked Mr. Gerald Baker, Gerald Baker. Lisa, have you made contact with Mr. Baker yet?
I don't know, sir,
He attended park board meeting last night.
Sir,
I wanted to let you know that he did attend park board meeting last night.
okay.
he was there?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Okay. Yeah, I had given his number to Lisa so we could make contact or email. I don't know if I gave you his email or not, but Mr. Baker's gonna serve, okay?
Okay.
Okay? And, ADA Authority Board, Lisa and I both have been looking, if you will help us on that. The qualifications are someone that might be in that might be in the, service of those folks that might need, that help, or if they, someone that has a family member or someone that's, familiar with what the needs might be. And, am I saying that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because we've got one member coming off of there, and that's Mr. McGee, because he's been on there for 2 terms. So it's time for him to come off of there. So if you would help us on that, we'll try to get somebody's name by November, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, any comments on those appointments? Other business?
Yes. Director Lalonde, I'm still a little confused on the paving projects throughout the city and where we are, dollar-wise, where you are, that type of thing. I mean, if you could address the council through email, that type of thing on what's coming up, how the location is, and also include the wide lanes that I get a lot of complaints about. People aren't able to see around the corners and that type of thing. I know it's a rotation on that, you said, so.
Yeah, those are, it was kind of ironic, when you sent the one email out about the one right away. Actually, the day before, we had already mowed that, so it's just one of those things, and, you know, to give you a specific time when a tractor might come around is all weather dependent. It's employee dependent. If everybody shows up, we do 58 miles of right of way. So we usually have 3 tractors going, and I cannot give you, you know, can't really give you a good estimate of it because I would be wrong more than I was right on those. So it's just all dependent upon that. The paving, we were waiting a little bit for the money and everything else like that. I think we're probably fine now, okay?
Well, not for the full million, but we're just, you've done 300 and something thousand so far.
Yes.
And I don't know how much more you want to do before winter, but we can
Personally,
coordinate.
I'd rather do all of it, but I know that we gotta wait for the money
Some
to
of the
get there.
taxes come in.
So
To receive some taxes.
there's, you know, hurdles that we have to go over to be able to do it. You guys did approve the money, but it doesn't mean that we have the money that day to do it. So I do have a paving list. I've gotten some suggestions for paving areas. Basically, I think you guys were all given that book when we had the study done on all the streets and everything. I mean, if you look at that, I try to pick from each one of the wards and everything, and I try to pick the most heavily traveled roads that will affect the most citizens. I know there's some bad roads out there that have 3 houses on it, but there's some bad roads out there that have 1,500 people living on it. So I try to do my best with that. You know, is it perfect? Probably not. I've never been accused of being perfect. So, but if you need a list, if you need anything like that, if you need all the areas that we mow that you can see, I can get that to you guys. I definitely don't try to keep it secret because to me, a road is a road and the grass is a grass. If it needs to be mowed and I got the people to do it, we're going to do it. So,
Thank you, Bob.
yep.
Any other questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, any announcements to make, Lisa?
Yes, sir. Fall cleanup, which keeps the guys busier than they already are, is October the 20th through October the 23rd on your normal trash day. There are restrictions about what you can put out. They like to all be separated into different sections, like wood all together, metal all together, that kind of thing. There'll be an ad coming out in the newspaper that tells that, but you can also find it on our website under the Public Works Department.
Definitely no mowing that week.
Okay.
We're all busy.
Council, do we have any other business to take care of?
And we've got a special call meeting for the animal and fowl at the end of the month.
Yes, yes, that is correct. It's at the end of October, actually. I'm sorry. It was the 27th, October 27th. October 27th, yeah. It's, I just could not work it in and schedule it where everybody could be available. I'm sorry. October 27th, we'll have that special meeting.
All right, anyone else have a comment or a question? All right, if not, let's adjourn.